60 days ago, my skin was at an all-time low. I was searching online for answers, trying all these different skincare products, but nothing seemed to work, and I was desperate for a solution. But after coming across many different resources, three specific things kept popping up, claiming that they would remove my acne. I didn't realize it at the time, but as soon as I started cutting these things out, my skin finally started improving. And today I want to share those three things with you so you can finally figure out why you have acne and what's causing it. At first, I always thought that it was either genetics, stress, or the fact that I naturally have oily skin, which was causing me acne. I thought over time it would just subside, and by the time I was 22, maybe 23, it would go away. But as I was 21 years old and I still had acne, I knew that wasn't the case, and I knew that I had to do something to get on top of it. And this is when, through a lot of research, I found out the reason why I had acne wasn't because of what I was putting on my face, but rather what I was putting in my body. Because what you put in your body dictates how much inflammation you get. And when you have a lot of inflammation, that's when you get a lot of acne. And the first thing I was eating, which was inflaming the shit out of my body, was refined carbs. I'm talking about white rice, bread, pasta, crackers, potato chips, all these sort of things that are heavily processed carbohydrates. The issue with them is that they're so scientifically designed that whenever you eat them, they spike your insulin. And your insulin spiking really high is a major cause of why you have acne. You're probably listening to this and you're wondering, if I can't eat pasta, white rice, or any sort of bread, well then what can I eat? And that's where I've got you covered, because there are a ton of different options for you. So if you want all the recipes that I'm using to reverse the damage on my skin, then click the link in the description, join my free school community, and you'll get access to my recipe library, which has all the recipes that I'm using throughout this journey. The thought of cutting out this next thing kind of made it feel like I was chopping off a limb when I had to cut it out. A lot of people online say that this is the biggest change that you can make to your diet, and you won't only get improvements in your skin, but you'll also get it in your sleep quality and also your mood and a ton of other things. So most people will tell you to cut out sugar entirely. And if you cut out sugar, sure, that's a good thing to do, but it's pretty much impossible because fruit has sugar, almost anything has sugar in it, so that's quite unrealistic. What you should do is cut out added sugars. So that does include honey, but I'm talking about, a sugar you put in your coffee, or sweetened yogurt, or some sort of sauce that has sugar, or some sort of bread that has sugar. You want to be very strict and make sure that it's 0 grams of added sugar that you're eating, but natural sugar is completely okay. At the same time, don't be a complete retard with that information and go eat or go drink 6 bottles of orange juice and an entire pack of dates because it's natural sugar. Like, just use your brain here, but understand that if you're eating a bowl of fruit with your breakfast, that's not the reason why you have acne. The reason why you have acne is because you're adding too much sugar to your diet, because you're eating too many refined carbs, and then also, third thing, which I'm just going to talk about right now. But once I cut out added sugar, I saw the fastest improvements in my skin. I mean, the big takeaway is the fact that when you have pimples, they actually go away in about 2 days max. They don't stay around for a long time. They don't get really big and inflamed with a huge white head like usual. And it wasn't only me that's experiencing this. One person that's actually inside of my community DM'd me to say that he had the same experience. It's like they were disappearing like magic. And on top of that, cutting out added sugar gives you a more even tone. In this first picture, you can see my skin is so inflamed and my skin's not even. But when cutting it out, my inflammation completely died down and it started to smooth out my skin's barrier. So this next thing is going to be significantly easier to cut out compared to refined carbs or added sugar, but at the same time, you might even get more results from cutting this thing out than the other two. And what I'm talking about is dairy. Butter, cream, milk, whey protein powder, all of these things contribute to your acne. And once again, It's hard to tell which one of these things that I cut out had most of the impact, but this one is something that everyone talks about online. Everyone is saying that they cut out dairy and saw insane improvements in their skin, and I recommend you to do the same because it's exactly what I did, and now I've got a much more even tone on my skin, and I've still got another 8 weeks to go of this journey. So obviously, when you cut these things out, it's going to take some time to actually work. You can expect to see results in the first week, but from week 2 up until about week 4 to 5, you're not going to see that many results. And only about 60 days in is when you're going to truly look back on the progress that you've made. I'm telling you, it's 100% worth it. If you could go through 4 months of just cutting out the foods that you love in order to cure the biggest insecurity that you have without having to use these bullshit skincare products that never fucking work and always leave your skin inflamed, or trying Accutane, which has the potential risk to give you depression and unalive yourself. I don't think I can say that word on YouTube. Well, then it's a no-brainer to go with this method instead of those two. So click subscribe, stick around for the journey, because I've got another 8 weeks to go, and you'll see that I'm practicing what I preach and that this stuff actually works.